Hey everybody, and welcome back to Emerald Coast. We've made it to day 4 of early spring. Of course, we're still in year 3. And we're over here on field 18 and 19, planting some corn. And you see we've got a couple tractors set up over here. And that's because we had some rain a couple days ago. And we started planting corn in this tractor with the big duals on the back. And the air pressure is down. And we were doing pretty good because we were basically getting minimal compaction. We already seeded, or planted, I should say, corn in field 22 and in field 16. That was before the rain. See, we had minimal compaction going on those two fields. But then after the rain, you can see that we are doing light compaction with this particular tractor. And we started planting over here while this tractor was over in field 16 doing some fertilizing. And we had this one configured with duals on the front and the back. And the reason is, as you can see up here, we have no compaction at this point with this particular amount of ground moisture. We're sitting at 30%. So the other tractor, the other New Holland over here, it was doing pretty good at 19% ground moisture, of causing very minimal compaction. But with anything more than that, it's causing low compaction, which is what we've got over here. So since this tractor had finished fertilizing those fields, I went ahead and brought it over here and switched it up. And if we pull up our soil composition and we just let that refresh, you're going to see that we're basically going to be doing no compaction. We're not going to be compacting the soil at all at this point. Because we've got duals on the front and duals on the back. We've got the tire pressure set way down on these, as you can see in the flexing of the tires. And what we're doing is we're just seeding straight across both fields without bothering about doing 18 and then 19. We're just going to go ahead and do 18 and 19 all at the same time. See, we refreshed and we don't have any more pink. Where we now have our growth coloration. So of course the ultimate goal is to minimize compaction, which will maximize our yield. So we should be able to finish planting this field, these two fields, and then spray these two fields and not add to any compaction that isn't already there. And then we also need to go down and plant fields 9 and 10, which we're going to do in the exact same method that we're doing with these fields. See, field 4 is still sitting in that harvested state. We've not had any sugarcane growth at all. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern on our sugarcane, waiting for it to come up so we can apply another coat of fertilizer. And basically we're just in a state of finishing up our planting. We're going to do that today. Got rain, as you can see in the forecast, coming soon. It's anticipated to come right around midnight into morning time for the rain. As you can see, it is scheduled to be raining tomorrow. And then we've got 6 good days of basically sunshine. So we've got the rest of mid-spring, or all of mid-spring, is basically going to be sunshine, with the exception of probably tomorrow morning. And then so far we've got 3 days of late spring with sunshine. So it looks like we're going to have some pretty good haymaking weather in late spring. Which is pretty good, because we're down to, the number of bales that we have is getting pretty far down there. After we have fed into the rest of, tongue-tied. As we've had 2 feedings in spring, we're going to have 2 more feedings in mid-spring before we're going to be in a condition to mow anything into late spring. Of course, we've got the new disc bine to mow with, and we've got our new rake to mow with this time around. As you can see, we're not adding to the compaction now that we've switched tractors. So that's part of the deal with the compaction mod, is pretty much constantly paying attention to ground moisture and adjusting your tires setup and your air pressures to fit current conditions. Because the New Holland worked just fine and dandy without adding compaction to the ground when we had 19% ground moisture. But now that we've got 30% ground moisture, it's just too damp for that other tractor, that bigger tractor with single fronts, to keep from some compacting the soil too much. So we moved over here to this smaller, lighter case tractor with duals on the front and the back to help spread out the load even greater. Alright. So you can see we are just about done here. Right. Turn around. Right. Back up. Off we go. Alright, now we'll just come back and we will fill out the rest of this field. We'll fill up our seeder and then head on over to 9 and 10 and see about getting that taken care of. As you can see, we've got $884,000. We've been selling some milk. We're now selling eggs. We're getting a fair number of eggs per day. I think we're getting about 85 eggs per day now out of our chickens. And I've been thinking about land acquisition. And I have to tell you, I'm not sure. Initially I was thinking about picking up fields 7 and 8. And then, if money permitted, maybe even field 6. Okay? So then we would own fields 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Not field 5, which is the big square field up there. Then I thought, there we go. Then I thought, well, what if I purchased field 5. I can. Field 5 is 700 and some $1,000. I thought to myself, well, what if I just bought field 5? You know, what would that do for me? And I'll tell you one thing it would do for me. It would get rid of that "you don't own this field" message, where I'm mowing that big grass field next to field 5. Interesting enough, this is showing as being canola. Okay, we're planting canola in field 2, and it's showing as being planted in canola. I did a planting mission on that field just the other day, and I planted wheat. And somewhere along the ways, between me planting wheat and the game updating, when I loaded the map back in, it's now turned into canola. Rather interesting. So I'm kind of thinking, I'm kind of on the fence. Do I buy field 5, just field 5, and have a really, really big field? Remember, field 12 was our previous biggest field. Or do we pick up fields 6, 7, and 8? So field 5 is canola. 6, 7, and 8 have wheat and barley, which would give us more straw. Right now we just got one field, really, that's going to give us, well, we got two fields. We got field 1 and 12 that would give us straw. So I don't really think we're going to need the straw, but it would give us something that we could store and sell in winter when we had a really good price for it. All right. To put more seed in our planter here. So I'd be interested to know in the comments, what would you all do? I'm recording this a fair bit ahead of time, so will likely have already made my purchase and made my decision before you see this video. But I am curious as to which fields you would pick up. Would you go for field 5? Or would you go for 6, 7, and 8? I would say we probably could definitely afford either of those options. Big old field 5, probably would need to bring out both harvesters to harvest that crop and everything. Or would we bring out and do these 3 fields across the street, main farm? Like I said, I'm not sure. We're gonna decide before the end of the video here. By the time we get done planting 9 and 10, I'm gonna have a decision made up. And like I said, I'm not sure which way we're gonna go at this point. Whichever direction we go, we're going to put soybeans in those fields once we pull the crop that's on it off. Because we're going to try to maintain the rotation of wheat or barley, and then soybeans in 1 year, corn in the next year, and then back to wheat, soybeans, wheat or barley, and then soybeans the next year, and then corn in the following year. We're putting corn in, obviously, in fields 22, 16, 18, 19, 9, and 10. Okay, so we've got 6 fields that are in our corn year, and we've got fields 1, 2, and 12 currently in our wheat / barley and soybean year. So if we add field 5 or 6, 7, and 8, all of those fields would be in the soybean year of the rotation. go over here and top this off just one more time. Then we'll head on over to field 9. So either way, we're going to be adding cropland to our wheat/barley and then soybean years. No, I'm not going to go that way, because that is going to pretty much be guaranteed to be soft and squishy. We don't want to go that way with risk of getting bogged down in the mud. See, we've got ourselves 116 sheep now. They have been producing a fair amount of wool. Got a couple full pallets of wool already. Just waiting for a decent wool price to haul that off. And we're up to 89 pigs. They've been reproducing quite steadily since the first day of spring. I'd say we're well on our way of probably having possibly over 150 pigs by the end of autumn this year. We'll have to see how that all works out. Alright, here we go. Let's go over here and we'll do the same thing. We'll run straight across, planting 9 and 10 same time. And in theory we would probably plow these two together, but we've got indestructo grass between them, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave them separate just for funsies' sake. Alright, there we are. And off we go. See, we're going to have a very nice sunset here on Emerald Coast tonight. A nice, lovely color there over in the direction of the arable farm. We still have our soybeans. We haven't sold those off. At a pretty good price, very tempting to sell them yesterday. A very attractive price, but elected to just go ahead and keep them because it looks like we might have ourselves very good price in early summer. So we're gonna hold on to them and kind of make some bets that we're gonna see a lot better pricing in early summer. And right around that time frame is going to help us with respect to getting money to put the next round of soybeans around. It's pretty interesting how the best time to sell soybeans is the same time as the best time to plant them. Pretty much needing to keep them around for an entire year. See, we're still over here. We're doing no compaction. We're not adding to the compaction state of these two fields by the use of this particular tractor, which is quite nice. This will also allow us to harvest these fields in this same general direction, and basically just harvest 9 and 10 at the same time. Use courseplay to do that. We're going to have to basically record a custom course by going around the outside of the two fields in in order to make it so course play will harvest both fields at once, which isn't that big of a deal. It's just a little extra step, but is something that if you haven't seen do before, I'm going to try to remember to do that for you guys. So if you haven't seen that type of a thing. Oh, what's going on here? Just put a little bit of corn in our barley field by accident. It's not cool. That is not cool at all. Have to watch ourselves when we make these turns on this side of the field. I'm gonna not only have to pick the planter up, I'm gonna have to turn it off. Look at that sunset. That is just a beautiful sight over there. And talking about that, I'm really excited to see what kind of dynamic sky we're going to get in 19. Know we're going to have the sun moving across the sky. Know we're going to have a moon moving across the sky. We're going to have clouds floating and moving around. We're going to have each cloud can, in theory, be its own modeled object. So we could have mods that are basically different clouds, different skies, different active or dynamic skies. Could be mods that you could add in to have a light wispy clouds, or you could have huge potential for huge thunderheads when you have a storm coming. All kinds of things are possible now, I think, with the dynamic sky that is coming in 19. Just a few more weeks to go before 19 makes its way. Exciting times, sure. And we'll see. We'll see how many. We'll see what type of drop-off we get on views. Like I said, I'm really interested to see if everyone's going to basically dump ship on 17 and go straight to 19 and not look back. I know that rumor mill is that there's a fair number of YouTube presenters that are going to do just that. The instant they have access to 19, either in early access or day of release, they are basically going to shelve 17, put it by the wayside, quickly cease all existing 17 series if they haven't already ceased them ahead of 17's release, and basically be in a position to just put out 19 content. And I'm kind of not going to do that. I'm thinking, what if we continued on with our series here in our 10-year gameplay, and at the same time provided 19 content, and just see what the views look like on this series. And I'm kind of interested. Will it truly be that no one on the YouTubes is interested in 17 content anymore? That only 19 content will get the views? Or is it that by having a smaller number of folks providing 17 content, that the views will either remain the same or go up as a result of that? It'll be interesting to see. I know there's been folks talk about they're going to buy 19, but they don't plan to play 19 for any seriousness until certain realism type mods come out, be that seasons, be that more realistic, or any number of other pseudo-realism mods that might make their way into 19. Now, early on, there's going to be probably a void with respect to mods like GPS, mods that are used fairly every day. Common mods by PC players are probably not going to be out there for quite a while in 19. So how many folks are going to stick around and wanting to see how well, or wanting to stick around with 17 until basically 19 catches up with some minimal level of mod support? Be interesting to see. So we're just going to play it out and see how it goes. Continue to give this map a good run. Like I said earlier, my goal, my personal goal, is to try to get to year 5 before 19 releases. What that's going to mean is there's going to be less videos per season, less videos per game year. Because quite frankly, you know, putting a video out when waiting to put a video out can basically delay the gameplay. I could be playing, you know, as I have time when I'm watching the kids or anything, and I try to record videos sometimes when I do that, but it doesn't always work out the best. So they'll come over and they'll interrupt me. They'll try to get some questions. You know, they'll try to do that, but sometimes it doesn't work out the greatest. And I'm going to be traveling. I'm still recording this. I still haven't left for the travel trip. Getting ready to do that. So I'm going to be able to, hopefully, depending on how well my laptop handles Emerald Coast, we might do a fair bit of year 3 while I'm away, and by the time I get back to my gaming and recording system, I might not be able to, I won't be able to record, that's for sure. But we might find ourselves into summer before I get back to a recording system. And I suspect that's going to be fine with most people. I mean, we can try to not repeat ourselves too terrible much. See, this field's got a fair bit of mud still in it. We can try to not repeat ourselves too terrible much, but you know, to be quite honest, there's only so much you can do. Really? You know, there's only so much you can do when it's cultivate, fertilize, seed or plant, fertilize, harvest, mow, bale, tend to animals, you know, compost, forestry work. There's only so much you can do and so much variation you can do before you're just, you know, repeating yourself, you know, constantly. So, you know, I'm trying to change some things up, but when you play 5-10 years on a map, you're going to be doing the same things over and over quite a lot, because, well, that's just what you do as a farmer, is you kind of do the same stuff over and over, year after year. Weather changes, conditions change, maybe your equipment changes, your financial situation definitely changes year to year. Might have a good year, might have a hard year, so forth. Let's see here. if our seed is going to hold out. Got 2 more full passes to go. We might have to run up to the truck and get another load in our seeder. I don't think it's going to hold out. Alright, well, I said that we would know what we were going to do. I was going to tell you guys what I was going to do by the end of this video. And we're coming to our 30-minute mark. And everything. Yeah, we're definitely going to need to get more seed. So, as we are heading up to get more seed, I'm going to let you know that we are going to purchase field 5. We're going to go and buy a big old field 5. Probably sometime in mid-spring. What I'll probably do is let the canola come up and do a harvest, not a harvest, but a fertilized job for the farmer to get that field to 2 stages of fertilization. May wait and see if I can't maybe get 3 stages of fertilization out of the guy and then buy the field. But I think we're going to go and buy field 5. That'll serve 2 purposes. That'll give us 1 big massive field to play with. We can get multiple harvesters running on that one, hopefully. And also we can then no longer get that "you don't own this field" message on the big grass field, which will allow us to do a better job of harvesting the grass off of that field and everything. And it will give us should give us a pretty darn good yield on soybeans this fall. Hey guys, until next time, happy farming.